It's a big honor. I want to say thanks to all the people who work on it to be part of the project because it's a big achievement for me, a big honor to be part of the big Madame Tussauds family, and I'm really happy. And when even more when you see the
Thank
result,
you for
it's amazing. I'm really proud to be here.
thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachiku, and here are the top stories. House of Reps moves to convert 37 Lagos LCDAs to local governments. House of Reps rescinds decision on bill seeking to strip Vice President governors of immunity. Natasha Akpoti receives RNX invitation on notification of petition to recall her from Senate. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu subjects himself to spiritual reflection on his 73rd birthday. Rivers Sole Administrator suspends all political appointees. Reno Omokri discloses vow to destroy Peter Obi obedient movement. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The news at 6 begins with the House of Representatives passing for a second reading a bill seeking to recognize the 37 local development area councils of Lagos State as full-fledged local government areas. This proposal scales the legislative hurdle. Lagos, which currently has 20 local governments, will now have 57 local governments, pushing the total number of local governments in the country from 774 to 811. The 37 Lagos LCDAs were created by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was the Lagos State Governor between 1999 and 2007. The creation of the LCDAs brought Tinubu into a confrontation with the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, who then seized Lagos State federal allocations. The bill seeking the conversion of the 37 LCDAs to full-fledged local governments was jointly sponsored by the member representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, Lagos State, Abiodun Falike, and 21 other lawmakers. The bill seeks to alter the constitution to allow for the accommodation of the 37 development area councils of Lagos State to operate as full-fledged local government areas, to bring the total of 57 numbers of local government areas in Lagos State and that of the Federation to 811 numbers. Clause 3 of the proposed bill also seeks to alter the first schedule, Section 3, Part 1, Item 24, Lagos State Local Government Areas, State Lagos Capital City Ikeja, Agege, Ajeromi Ifelodun, Alimosho, Amuwodofi, Akpakpa, Badagry, Ekpe, Etiosa, Ibejuleki, Ifakwajaye, Ikeja, Ikorodu, Koshofe, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, Mushi, Ojo, Oshodi Solo, Shomulu, Surulere. The lawmakers proposed in Clause 4 the alteration of the first schedule, Section 3, Part 1, Item 24. Meanwhile, in a very recent development, the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today rescinded its decision to pass for second reading a constitutional amendment bill to strip the Vice President, governors and deputy governors of immunity as conferred by Section 308 of the Constitution as amended. The House also rescinded its decision to pass for second reading the bill to amend the Constitution to review penalty for certain category of offences. The two bills were passed for second reading on Wednesday and referred to the House Committee on Constitutional Review. The bill stripping the Vice President and others of immunity, titled A Bill for an Act to Alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to qualify the immunity conferred on the President, remove the immunity conferred on the Vice President, the governors and their deputies in order to cap corruption, eradicate impunity, and enhance accountability in public office is sponsored by Solomon Bob, PDP Rivers State. Also, the bill on penalty for certain capital offences, which obviously includes a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Cap C23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to review the penalties for certain capital offences in alignment with relevant international best practices, is sponsored by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Okeze Kalu and 6 others. The Deputy Speaker, who presided over plenary, said the rescission of the decision to pass them for second reading became necessary in view of the need to subject them to further debate. Kalu said the bills will be brought back to the House for debate by members in view of the sensitive nature of the issues involved. Moving on, we'll now move on to the controversial situation with Natasha Akpoti, who has eventually received an invitation from the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, you do know that the suspended senator has been notified by the Independent National Electoral Commission about the receipt of a petition to recall her from the National Assembly. Well, INEC had revealed this statement by Sam Olumeku, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee on Wednesday in Abuja. Also, Olumeku confirmed that further to the statement issued by INEC on Tuesday, the Commission had received contact addresses of representatives of the petitioners seeking to recall Natasha. He stated that the telephone numbers and email addresses of the representatives of the petitioners had been provided to INEC in a letter addressed to the chairman of the commission dated March 26. Also, this will be done in the coming days. The outcome will be made public, shall determine the next step to be taken by the commission. Olumeko reassured Nigerians that the recall process will be open and transparent. A group of registered voters from Kogi Central Senatorial District had on Monday submitted a petition to INEC urging the commission to commence the recall process of Akpoti Udwagan, senator representing the Senatorial District. Now, the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been disclosed to want to reflect on a spiritual cleansing during his 73rd birthday celebration. Bayo Onanuga, the President's Special Advisor on Information Strategy, today disclosed that the President will use the occasion of his 73rd birthday to reflect on key issues about Nigeria and thank God for preserving and supporting him since assuming office in May 2023. According to Onanuga, the President, ahead of his birthday, will join fellow Muslims at the National Mosque in Abuja for a special prayer session for Nigeria. He also noted that Tinubu's decision to embark on this prayer session on his birthday shows the president's commitment to seeking divine guidance in his path to lead Nigerians. The presidential aide affirmed that the president is optimistic that a prayer made collectively by citizens of the country would serve as a powerful tool for guiding Nigeria towards progress and harmony. In addition, Onanuga said Nigerians all over the country have been called upon by the president to join him from wherever they are to celebrate his 73rd birthday by offering special prayers in their various places of worship. The president also appreciated Nigerians for their support and goodwill as he works with his team to make the country a better place for all. While in Rivers State, the government of Rivers State has announced the immediate suspension of all political office holders and appointees throughout the state. VOP News confirmed the development today was released, however, last night by the Chief of Staff to the Administrator of Rivers State, who indicates that this suspension follows the authority granted by the State Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Etta Ibas, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The officials affected by the suspension include the Secretary to the State Government, the Chief of Staff, all honorable commissioners, chairpersons and members of boards, councils of agencies, commissions, institutions and parastatals, all special advisors, special assistants and senior special assistants. Additionally, the statement instructed the suspended officials to transfer their responsibilities to the permanent secretaries within their respective ministries, departments and agencies. In cases when a permanent secretary is in place, the most senior director or head of administration is to take over. This directive takes effect on Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Meanwhile, a former presidential aide, Reno Omokri, has said he took a vow to destroy Peter Obi's obedient movement because Obi was his project. Omokri said he was responsible for Obi's vice presidential candidacy in 2029, a position which contradicts Atiku Abubakar's account of how Obi became his vice in 2019. Well, the former presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party had actually clarified that the former president Olusegun Obasanjo was the one who chose Obi for him. He went ahead to disclose that Obi Ezekwesili, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and Chukwuma Soludo were suggested by former President Obasanjo, but because they were not members of the PDP, they were not chosen. In an interview with a Monitor television program today, the controversial social media influencer alleged that members of the Obedient movement attacked him, his wife, and his child. Let's take a brief listen to Reno Omokri's explanation as to why he took it upon himself to destroy Peter Obi and the Obedient movement.
Happened, I took a vow to destroy that movement because Peter Obi was a project of mine. Myself, two people actually, Senator Ben Moribuz and I, a former president had asked us to make sure that we promote him because he felt that he was a good candidate. And so I did my best. I spent my money to promote him. I was responsible for Peter Obi becoming the running mate to Waziri Atiku Abubakar in 2019. I've said this publicly. I've got the document. I'm a meticulous record keeper. Waziri Atiku Abubakar cannot deny it. Peter Obi cannot deny it. Peter Obi was lobbying me, sending me his resume. We did everything we did. I've not collected a dime from Peter Obi. Now, what happened is that Peter Obi left our party, the People's Democratic Party, without informing any of us who helped him. And that's okay. He should have done that. But he left the party just suddenly. And then, obviously, we couldn't go with him because he didn't tell us that he was leaving. Now, even if he told us, we wouldn't have gone with him. So we had our party and we had our candidates, and we were trying to build our party. And what happened is that Peter Obi's movement, Obedience, they started attacking me, threatening me, insulting me. Now, that was okay, but then they moved from myself to my family. I just had a daughter at that time. There were multiple death threats. They came to my house in the United Kingdom. They trailed my wife and I when we were jogging. They found out my jogging route, and then they would pursue me jogging and then threaten me. And so one day I just got very annoyed. I contacted Peter Obi. I told him this is what was happening. And I named a specific individual who is online. I knew that the person masquerades as a mixed race girl on X. And I told him, look, I know who the person is. You've got to speak with that person on the phone. Peter Obi put me on speakerphone, talked to somebody on the background, and then later came back to me. I said, look, he cannot condemn that person. That specific person, he cannot condemn that person, but he will issue a general statement, but he cannot condemn that person. So that means that Peter Obi knew who that person was. Anyway, the attacks continued, and I would contact Peter Obi, and I've got records of all of this. Peter Obi would not do anything. And so I took a decision one day. I said, well, if Peter Obi is like this, if he's not going to control this violent movement, this thuggish movement, this mob, this headless mob, then I am going to do my possible best with whatever considerable, a political machinery that I have to destroy that movement. And that's just a summary.
All right, you just listened to Reno Omokri there explain the reason why he has taken it upon himself to ensure that he destroys the Obedient movement for supposedly bullying him and attacking his family. While the Independent National Electoral Commission has announced that it has received 91 applications for the establishment of new political parties, the submissions are coming amid preparations for the forthcoming 2027 general elections. Top political parties, however, have expressed their view of the latest applications to INEC. The People's Democratic Party remarked that the volume of applications indicates a lack of cohesion amongst opposition leaders. On the other hand, the New Nigeria People's Party described it as evidence of the ruling All Progressives Congress ineptitude. Conversely, the Labour Party expressed its support for the influx of applications but urged INEC to conduct a thorough review of each submission prior to granting registration. Now, a bill to create the office of the Prime Minister as head of government and the office of President as head of state, and to provide for a framework for the mode of election to the said offices has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill was among 32 constitution amendment bills that scaled second reading in the House of Representatives today. Also among the bills is a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide for specific seats for women in the National Assembly and state houses of assembly. Another is a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reduce the period for determination of pre-election petition matters and provide for the establishment of pre-election tribunals for pre-election matters and regulate the process of suspending a member of the National Assembly from legislative duties. A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to review the requirements that qualifies persons to be elected as president and vice president, governors and deputy governors passed second reading as well. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into the news analysis segment while we're joined via the telephone with Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator who will be giving us his purview and insight into the issues that were read out on the World News at 6. Do kindly stay with us. All right. Good evening, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Esther. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the World News at 6. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, the first question I want to ask you is, does the River State sole administrator have the right to actually disembark or dissolve all political appointments in the state? Does he have that constitutional right to do so, suspending all the political appointees in this 6 months that he's to prevail as the sole administrator in River State, sir?
Esther, he does not even have the right to be in place. Talkless of people have the right to suspend anybody. You see, what we are seeing in River State now is legality upon illegality. Because there is nowhere in the Constitution where it is stated that the sole administrators are appointed. Now that he has been appointed contrary to the law, so I believe whatever step that the administrator will be taking will not be in line with any, will not even be, if we are talking about legality of it, we'll be disturbing ourselves because you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. The sole administrator is standing on the legality because there's nowhere in the Constitution where it is allowed. So whatever step is taken, as far as I'm concerned, whether suspension, whether anything, even if whatever thing that he's doing, because I listened to him and he said all the things he's doing is in line with the mandate by the president.
Yes.
The president is not the Constitution. The president is not the law. So we are, in other words, the president is not the one determining what happened in any state or everywhere. So for me, the issue of even discussing whether he can suspend or not, it does not even arise because it does not even have the local standing to stand. So if your foundation is faulty, so whatever you do will not stand. So as far as I'm concerned, although unfortunately it appears we have endured it and we have taken it the way it is.
It is.
So we're going to see issues that will be raising questions. So whatever step we take will definitely raise issues. That's what we'll see.
But Barrister, do you think the reason why he suspended all the political appointments is because he doesn't want anybody monitoring whatever it is he's doing? The state has received the monthly allocation already from the CBN. They've been instructed to give him the money, about 400 billion to the state. Now, when you dissolve or suspend all political appointments, secretary to the state government, you have all the parastatals that should make that state be democratically governed. Does it mean that we're going to see expenditures wholesomely with nobody making account, nobody monitoring whatsoever? Is that not a complete military, dictatorship at play in River State, in a state that was not really experiencing any breakdown of law and order or that had devolved into a form of anarchy and chaos in the first place? Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you see, like I said earlier, the issue of budget, this one is another major issue. As it is today now, the money was released to the sole administrator without any budget.
Yes.
We're not even talking about approval. It did not even prepare any budget. Talking of people, they rely on a budget prepared by the former guard, the suspended governor, which they say has not been passed by the House and is illegal. So the same budget is what another president is spending now, without even looking at it, without even knowing anything, even know the project that they want to do in that budget. The only thing is that they release the money and they will be spending the way he likes. You see, like I said, the River State, what is happening in River State has become a multiplicity of illegality. And it will continue as long as the man is there. The solar operator is still in charge. Because all the things we'll be doing will be raising issues that will call for debate.
All right.
For me,
go ahead.
You see, for me, like I said, the existence of the solar operator is a contravention of Section 1, Section 2 of the Constitution. Section 1, Section 2 of the Constitution provides that, look, the Federation of Nigeria shall not be controlled, or no individual or group take control of the federation or state, except as provided by the Constitution. Is there any provision in our Constitution that says a solar operator will be appointed? There's none where it is stated that a solar operator can be appointed. So what is the containing? What is happening in River State is that, like I said again, unfortunately, it's illegality. It has nowhere to stand. Even if no matter what you say that the president gave him the power, the president has no power to direct as to how a state will be governed. It's only the Constitution that determines how a state can be governed, not the president.
Wow.
I am not saying the president has no power to declare a state of emergency where it is needed. He has the power, but he has no power to suspend a democratic elected political office holder.
It's quite unfortunate, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, that when we see issues like this, some technicalities are applied. The Minister of Justice has affirmed that what the president did was the right call. Barrister Tunji, let's move on to Reno Omokri, because I want us to discuss a couple of issues. Reno Omokri said he took a vow to destroy the obedient movement and the person of Peter Obi because he considered it a project of his. He said that he was the one responsible for Peter Obi becoming the running mate to Waziri Atiku Abubakar in 2019, and that he has disclosed this publicly and that he has documents. He says he's a meticulous record keeper. Meanwhile, in a very recent media chart that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the presidential candidate during the 2023 elections for the People's Democratic Party, he said that it was Obasanjo that suggested Peter Obi for him as his running mate. He said they had recommended Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Unfortunately, she was not a member of the PDP. Also, Chukwuma Soludo was suggested, but they were not members of the People's Democratic Party. So Peter Obi was chosen because he was still a member of the PDP. Now, we're having contradicting, scenarios. Where is Reno Omokri coming from his own? He said Peter Obi was lobbying him, sending him documents. Meanwhile, Atiku Abubakar said that Peter Obi was suggested to him by former President Obasanjo. How do you put this in context?
Esther, if at that time, if Reno Omokri is one of the aides of the president, he may have a role to play. Doesn't mean that he was the one that made the final decision. You know, when you are close to the people in authority, whether you are an SA or PA or whatever, and you are within the corridor of power of Atiku at that time, he may have a say in what they are discussing. And that does not mean he was the one that influenced it. He may have his own contribution, and there are so many people that are asking questions. So he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. It doesn't matter, even if it's the one that did everything. What is he talking about? Is he now expecting a return? Or what is his problem? Why is he complaining? Why is he saying he's going to destroy the aim?
Yeah, because on social media, he took it upon himself. I don't know if you follow him on X. Every day throughout last year till now, he brings up topics of Peter Obi. Any condescending statement, any narrative on Peter Obi as a person, on Peter Obi's wife, on Peter Obi as the Anambra State governor, every derogatory means you can see. In fact, he has a couple of followers, especially those who are not, in support of Peter Obi, especially the APC supporters. So he was asked as to why did you take it upon yourself as a daily activity to make condescending remarks to disparage Peter Obi, and that was where he made this confession, saying that the obedient movement caused it. They were hostile towards him, threatened his wife, threatened his baby, and that Peter Obi did not address the situation when he spoke to him about it. So he got angry and decided to ruin the movement and ruin the person of Peter Obi. But with this tense political situation we found ourselves, our ethnic disparity, the frailty, all right, that is currently going on in the country with the frailness of our ethnicities, do you think that's the right call to become an opposition, even if you want to attack a movement that attacked you or attack a personality whom you felt should have shown you some kind of support when you called him to support you?
Sincerely speaking, I don't like talking about Reno Omokri because I don't consider him as a serious person. As far as I'm concerned, I don't dwell on it. Whatever he says, a man who cannot stay in his country and is talking about the good of his country and he's staying outside and he's saying, you see the man who will say this today and tomorrow will say another thing. I don't see that kind of person. We are even making discussing him is looking like making this issue is important as far as I'm concerned. He has a choice. Whatever he wants to do, he can do it. It is freedom. There is freedom for everybody to act the way he wants to act. If that is his mandate to destroy anybody, let him continue and destroy whatever I want to destroy. What I know is that Reno Omokri is just one person, and like I said, he has no political influence in the country. He can only have social media influence. He has no political influence. He cannot deliver 10 votes in his constituency. I don't even know whether he has a constituency in Nigeria. So in his area where he votes, he can't control 10 votes. So he can only make noise, and that noise is what is making him popular. And because me, I don't always ordinarily like to discuss about him because we are making him more popular for nothing. For nothing.
All right, but
I don't think that somebody who should be recognized as a very, very important person in the country. I don't think so.
All right,
he doesn't make any major contribution about the country.
All right, sir. A bill to create the office of the Prime Minister as head of government and the office of President as head of state, and to provide a framework for the mode of election to the said offices has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. How would you react to this? Do you think the lawmakers really don't know the bedeviling situation the Nigerians are going through? Well, you would have expected that they would call for a state of emergency on insecurity, a state of emergency on hunger in the land. Even members of the various constituents they represent are crying daily. But what they are talking about is either to immortalize Humphrey Nwosu. Some say, no, we cannot immortalize. Or the recall of ensuring that Senator Natasha Akpoti does not come back to office, having to strip the vice president from, immunity. And the House eventually decided not to do that. And then you are trying to create the office of a prime minister. What is going on? Do they not have their prerogatives right or their priority in check?
Sometimes these people play to the gallery, and that's what some of these bid are passing. Some of them they have just played to the gallery with some of them.
But it has passed a second reading.
The second reading is not the end of it. We are talking about amendment of constitution.
Yes.
It does not end at National Assembly. It does not. Section 9 of the constitution provides when you are amending constitution, it must be passed by 2/3 of the House of Assembly and the Senate.
Yes.
Sorry, House of Rep and Senate. When that is done, they will now move to the state. They will say that 2/3 of the State of Assembly must approve it. That was why maybe that was why they realized that they know that that particular, for example, that immunity remover, they know it will not work. It will not get through in the state. Probably that's why they decided to renege on that. And I listened to one of them yesterday said it, that look, this thing will pass. We know it will not pass through, but let's at least our own, let's pass it. So that's why I say they are playing to the gallery. They know that these things sometimes are not going to scale through, but they just want to play to the gallery and say people, so that people who are not who will say they are. Yes, I'm not saying compare House of Rep compared to the Senate. I respect them more than the Senate. I respect them more than the Senate. They seem to be more busy and more focused than the Senate, who will call the elder brother. For me, in some areas they are playing to the gallery. They are playing politics. The whether parliamentary system of government where you have the president and the prime minister, it is not our problem in Nigeria is not the system of party. It is not the system, I tell you. It is not the constitution. Our problem is not the system. It's not the constitution. It is our the individuals. Is it the constitution that said the president to appoint the social administrator? Is it stated in anywhere in the constitution? Is it not our point? Is it the constitution that said the social administrator to have the power to dissolve and all the elected officers? It's not there in our constitution. There was is it the law that says that INEC must not be neutral? Is it the law that says police or security agencies should be partisan? when they are, again, the law that says we should appoint people who are political party members as the INEC officer. No, it is us. It's not the law. Except until we sincere with ourselves and we obey the law the way it is, we will not get it right. So if we like, adopt a parliamentary system of government, if we like, adopt a traditional system of government or whatever system of government we want to adopt, as long as we are behaving the way we are behaving, we won't get it right.
All right, Barrister Tunji, finally, before I let you go, right? The Independent National Electoral Commission has sent a letter to Natasha Akpoti concerning she's been notified by INEC about the receipt of a petition to recall her from the National Assembly. The INEC revealed in a statement by Sam Olumekun, INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee. So the recall process is to commence very soon, and they said they'll make it as open and transparent as possible. Just 2 days ago, we saw Natasha Akpoti visit her constituent. We saw the number of persons that came out to eulogize with her and greet her. They were hailing her. They were happy to see her. Is it that same constituent that signed for her recall and that INEC did not see that? We saw her. She went to meet her constituent members. That crowd, I don't know if it's possible to rent such a crowd. But in 2 days, this was 2 days ago, and then now we saw that there are bags of petitions, that were signed by the same constituency members to recall her. Is it possible it is the constituent members that did that? Or some person sabotaged and maneuvered the process? The woman who was in charge of that recall process on her page wrote, "The game is the game." This person works for former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. She said the game is the game. So how do you think this particular method would be considered transparent? How do we think this is not a political murder of this woman's career deliberately by persons who are not happy that she's supposedly revealing the rot going on in the National Assembly?
It will be too early to say there's no there's no transparency here. It will be too early. What is on now is still in line with the law, and the INEC has not done anything untoward for me to query that. Until when they start the verification, that's when I will know whether or not. For me, I know it's going to be difficult. That's why recall in our country is not working because it's not a genuine recall by people. It's been instigated by certain political elements who want to take advantage of it. So that's why you don't see the work. For me, you see, for you to skate through when it comes to the call, in fact, it's very easy for Nidu to pass through the eyes of the camera than you having a call. Because what are they going to be doing by verification? They have to come. And I think name alone is not enough. The INEC will come and see whether that name that was written corresponds with what is in the record in terms of the voter card. Your signature must correspond. Your address must correspond. So I don't know whether they have those information there. Even if they have, don't forget that Natasha, when she contested, she got 54,000 votes, while the opponent got 51,000 votes. In fact, she has to go to court or to recover her mandate. So those 54 people who are not happy may be the one behind this whatever. And that does not mean they have the numbers. I doubt. I doubt if they will secure that number, because we are a situation whereby during the election the entire vote was a 1,000 votes. Where would they get 150 people that will come and bearing in mind that Natasha also has her own supporters. So I don't know the entire state for the governor, the vote for the governor secure to become the governor was up to 500,000 votes, was about 400 or so. So how are they going to get that kind of a vote? Let's wait and see how it could happen. What I want to see is the transparency of it, and then let INEC be transparent. And when they come, they want to do the verification. Let them do the verification the way it should be done, and see whether after the verification they will even do referendum. So it's not an easy task to do. As it is today now, INEC has not done anything untoward. INEC only drew the attention of the people who brought the petition that you have not complied with law. Go and do the needful, and they've done the needful, and now it's done. So let's wait and see. I believe that that thing cannot get through, because she has her own supporters, she has her people, and I know she's a popular figure in that area. And according to the people in the area, in Nigeria, as a politician, for you to be doing well in Nigeria, it's not how many projects you have done or anything. or it's about how much are you spending. When you spend money well for your constituency, they will like you and they will see you as a performer.
But Barrister Tunji, you now know that now to recall their senators. So don't you think the senators should be sitting on the edge of their seats? Because when things like this happen to possibly intimidate, they're educating Nigerians on what to do. Now, senators who are not being responsible, senators who are docile, senators who do not know what their responsibility is there in representing their constituents, they have thought a couple of persons who never knew that this kind of recall process was possible on how to go about it. Don't you think this should be a lesson, or will I say a watch out or an alert call to the senators?
Esther, I will disappoint you and say that it is not at all. It's one. These people don't care about it because you see these people that you say they are calling for recall. It's only initiated genuinely by the people who want to recall her. It was sponsored by some people. So as long as if there is no sponsor, somebody will initiate any recall. You remember, and this is not the first time. That is not the first time. Dino the attempt was also made to recall Dino. They also submitted a petition and they tried to do verification. That's when they got stuck, and then that was the end of the recall process. So for me, it's not new, and the position that I know in Nigeria, they will not be afraid as long as they are not against the power that be. They will see themselves as nobody will. For you to make a recall in Nigeria or anything in Nigeria, people who are supposed to do the recall genuinely, they will be waiting for somebody who will give them money, who will trigger them. Otherwise, they will not do anything. If we are people that they were on our own, we'll just stand and say this thing enough is enough. We'll get it done. But yeah, people must give it. In fact, they will even see that if I ask them to come and say this senator is not doing well, let's recall her or let's recall him. They will ask you to say where is the money to give us money so that we'll come and do our voting. So and that's why they knew that the only way to catch people is that was how they were strict. So they come and collect palliative and you see them go. So that's the way it's in here. They will tell them, if they tell them truly that I want to do recall, they will not come. They will not come. They have to tell them want to give you palliative, and that's what they did. So for me, they are not, the politicians are not afraid of this.
All right. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, thank you so much for taking your time in giving us your insight into some of the topics read out on the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. All right, and that was Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, who is a legal practitioner, a political and social affairs commentator, speaking there, giving us his own perspective to some of the questions posed at him. To wrap up the world news, here again are the top stories. Reps move to convert 37 LCDAs to local governments. Also, House of Reps rescinds decision on bill seeking to strip Vice President, governors of immunity. Also, Natasha Akpoti receives INEC notification of petition to recall her from Senate. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu subjects self to spiritual reflection on his 73rd birthday. Rivers Sole Administrator suspends all political appointees. Reno Omokri discloses via an interview process for vowing to destroy Peter Obi and obedience. Also, in a very recent development, Nigerian lawmakers moved to create Office of Prime Minister. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachiko. Good evening and thank you for listening. Up next at 7 is the Evening Rush. Just stay with us.